Guys, it's Miss Crossland here, and I'm here to deliver you a lesson on converting between units in science. Now, before we go any further, just so you know, you are going to need a pen and paper for this lesson and a calculator. You can use the calculator on your phone. If you don't have your scientific calculator, it should still be fine for this lesson. Pause the video now if you need to go and get yourself a pen and paper and a calculator. Okay, so we're going to be looking at how we convert units, and this is really important in lessons such as biology, especially physics, so it's useful across all three of your sciences, really, sometimes in chemistry as well. So first of all, we're going to start with the easy ones. We're going to look at how we convert centimetres into metres. Now, centi actually comes from the word century, and it means 1/100th. So 1 centimetre is actually 1/100th of a metre. Now, to convert centimetres into metres, you need to divide by 100, and then opposite, if you want to convert metres into centimetres, you multiply by 100. So first of all, I'd like you to have a go at seeing if you can convert these centimetres into metres, and I've done the first one for you. So all I've done is taken 23, used my calculator and put 23 divided by 100, and that gives me 0.23 metres. So I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at converting the rest into metres for me. And here's your answers. Have a look, see if you got them correct, and pause the video whilst you mark them. Now I'd like you to try it the other way around. So now I've given you some figures in metres, and I'd like you to convert them to centimetres for me. Now to do that, you have to times by 100. So again, I've done the first one for you, and I'd like you to have a go at the remaining ones. Pause the video whilst you do that. And here's your answers. Again, mark your own and pause the video whilst you mark them. Okay, now these units often come with a prefix. A prefix is a word that goes in front of another word, and it can tell us how big or small something is. We have to convert certain units in science equations, especially in physics, so that the equation will work properly. And in order to do that, you need to remember the sequence of those prefixes in order from smallest to largest. So here they are. You've probably heard of some of these before. So starting with the smallest unit of something, you can have nano, then micro, milli, no prefix at all. I'll explain what that means in a minute. Kilo, mega, and giga. So for example, if we were talking about our meters, you may have heard of a nanometer. You could have a micrometer, a millimeter. The no prefix would be a meter. Then you could have a kilometer, a megameter, or a gigameter. Now this works for all units such as joules, grams. So you could have nanojoules, microjoules, millijoules. No prefix would just be joules, kilojoules, megajoules, or gigajoules. Okay. Now, each of those prefixes has a symbol. We don't spend time writing the full word out when we write our units, so we just write a symbol. So your task is to have a go at matching up the prefix to its correct symbol. I've done the first one for you. So number 1, nano, is D, the small little n. I want you to pause the video now and see if you can match up the numbers to the letters for each prefix and symbol. And here's your answers. Have a look, see how many you got right. Give yourself a mark out of 6. There was a remaining 6 from the one that I gave you. Okay, now that you know that, you can start converting between units. Now, there's one really important rule to remember, that you either divide or multiply by 1000 for every individual prefix. So that therefore means then that if we want to move from a nanometer to a micrometer, we're going to divide by 1000. But if I want to move from a nanometer to a millimeter, I divide by 1000, then I divide by 1000 again. That's not the same as dividing by 2000. Okay? Same if I go the other way. So let's say I have no prefix of just a meter, and I want to change that to millimeters. So I need to multiply that by 1000. Okay? But if I want to change that into micrometers, I need to do 1 meter times 1000 times 1000 again. Always remember, do not skip that middle box where there's no prefix. That's just as important as all the rest. So what does that mean then? I want you to have a go and see if you can convert these different units into the units that they're asking for. So for the first one, I'm going to talk you through it, and then you're going to have a go at the remaining 9 questions. So number 1, 123 millimeters. So I would look here, and I'm in the milli box. And I want to convert that to meters, so that's no prefix. So in order to do that, I need to divide that number by 1000. So in my calculator, I will put I will put 123 divided by 1000, which should give me 0.123. I want you to pause the video now and have a go at the remaining 9 questions. How many did you get right? Here's your answers in red. Pause the video and go through your answers. Just before you do that, I just want to show you that on number 6, for example, some calculators might write it in standard form where others may not. Okay, both those answers are acceptable. Okay, so now I want to see what you can remember. That table that I've been showing you, I want to see if you can copy and complete the missing gaps. So this is challenging you to remember the order of the prefixes and the units. Give it a go and see if you can fill in the gaps. Pause the video whilst you do that. And here's your answers. How many did you get right? Correct any mistakes that you've got. This will be something that's really handy to have around. Stick it on your bedroom wall to remember so that you can use it in any of your lessons. So just to finish off with, I wanted to just show you what this might look like in an exam. I'm not going to ask you to do this question, I'm just going to talk you through it to give you an example of how it might look. So here's a biology example. A scientist observed a cell using an electron microscope, and the size of the image was 25 millimeters. They've given a magnification of 100,000 times, and they're asking you to calculate the real size of the cell. Now, what's important here is they've given us the size of the image in millimeters, but they've asked for our answer in micrometers. Now, we need to do some converting between units here. So in order to do that, I need to convert my millimeters into micrometers. And to do that, I take 25 and I times it by 1000, which gives me 25,000. Then I can continue with the rest of the calculation. So for the rest of the calculation, I input my numbers into the equation that they've given me. Now I do need to rearrange that equation to give me 25,000 divided by 100,000, and that will give me the real size of 0.25 micrometers. And here's the mark scheme, which shows that you get a mark just for converting your unit into micrometers from the millimeters. Here's another example, but here's a physics question. So this is to show you how versatile this skill is, and it will apply to all of your science lessons. So this is talking about a spring. It might jog your memory to think of the Hooke's law experiment that we did, where you put weights on a spring and you measure the extension. Now a spring has a spring constant, this particular one, of 18 Newton meters. When an apple is hung from the spring, it extends or stretches by 6.4 centimeters. The spring does not go past the limit of proportionality, which means it doesn't stretch beyond the point where it won't return back to its original shape. Calculate the force exerted by the apple on the spring. So first of all, our spring constant is in Newton meters, but if you look, our extension is in centimeters. So meters and centimeters are not the same thing, and we need to sort that out. So first of all, I need to convert that centimeters into meters. To do that, I do 6.4 and then I divide that by 100. Remember, right at the start of this lesson, you were converting centimeters to meters, and that should give you 0.064 meters. Then we can continue with the rest of the calculation. The rest of the calculation requires one of the physics equations for you to recall, and that's force equals spring constant times the extension of the spring. I input my numbers from my question, so they've given me the spring constants of 18. I've now worked out that my extension is 0.064 meters, and that gives me an answer of 1.152 newtons. Here's the mark scheme to show that you need to convert that into meters in order to gain that mark for the question. So, to summarise, if you take away from this lesson the order of those prefixes, the units with them, and how to convert between each of the units, you've done extremely well. So this will be something that's useful to keep handy to refer to, maybe in the back of your planner or in your workbooks, so that anytime you come across a question where you need to convert between units, this will be a helpful table in order to do that. And that's everything for today. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again very soon. Bye-bye.